2, one of the last best of ones. In fact, just due to the timings of things, I do believe this will be one of the last best of ones we cast ever for the ZOTAC North American Cup as it comes to a close with this very last tournament. After this, the best of 3s, the quarterfinals do begin, and it is such a damn shame that these two titans would meet, not only on an awesome map, but in the best of 1s and not the best of 3s. The truest crime here is that we only get to see one game between these two. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, spawning in the top left of Heavy Rain, give it up for My Insanity's Red Terran player, JJakji. And his opponent in the lower right, playing for Root Gaming. Roots for Root! It is the Yellow Protoss Petraeus. One of the younger members of the team, coming from New Zealand. He's moved to North America and is currently living in the Root Gaming house. He's honestly got a pretty good chance of taking this match, guys. A lot of people, you know, JJakji is a bit of a beast, but you got to consider two giant things. One is the fact that Petraeus is actually one of the few people who regularly and actively not just takes on Korean players, but does in fact beat them. If you've never seen him compete in the C events, a lot of Axiom players, a lot of Samsung players like Solar and such compete over there before he even moved to North America. Now he's got the server advantage over JJakji, who's playing from Europe. I mean, JJakji is almost unbeatable, guys, and he's taking out Zergs like nobody's business. He's got untouchable in qualifiers for big-ass tournaments. But still, I would rate Petraeus as having a pretty good chance this game. We'll see how this ends up going. If JJakji were a player who played mech, you know what? This would be JJakji's map for sure, as Heavy Rain is a bit of an abusive map for Zerg players to deal with. That being said, he plays a lot of bio, and I've seen JJakji play mech like 3 times, if ever. But, you know, a big part of why a lot of players like JJakji and like Petraeus compete in these tournaments, and Tefl is a person who said this before multiple times publicly, is they compete not so much for the money. It's always nice winning $100, that's the prize pool for this tournament. But the practice you get, fighting against the Koreans, learning to play a better game and analyzing the results. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he decided he wanted to try mech against a player like Petraeus, but I imagine JJakji's probably going to stick with bio to be safe. Anyways, SCV is going to scoot his boot on up here and try and get to the main base for some scouting information. Not a lot to see. It's a little bit sad too. JJakji's a player who, like, I'm not even exaggerating, like 10 times out of 10 would open Reaper, like every single map versus Zerg. Now we see him do it versus Protoss most of the time, but not so much against Zerg anymore. I don't know if this is because he finds the scouting information less and less important as Zerg players are more predictable, but we'll see what happens. Bunker gonna come down here on the front lines. We're gonna scoot on forward too, gonna get inside and defend against any sort of initial lings, but of course not gonna be quick lings running by anytime soon. Double guys just taking this. Me? Okay, so this is what I'm thinking, guys. Like, it could possibly be mech coming out of JJakji. Just going off the opening, it's a very common way to play it out. Reactor coming down is going to certainly give him Hellions, and he'll probably follow up with a Banshee or two, but it's too hard to call one way or the other for now, because, of course, that's the way you always want to open up, at least, if you want to get some damage done early. Hellions are already problematic enough to deal with as is. Commonly, you'll see those 2 Reapers matched up with the Hellions, and it makes the push strong enough to move in on its own. But without the Reapers to pair with it, you replace them with the Banshee, which might not be able to soak the damage the same way the Reaper does, but it hits so much harder, and of course, will annihilate Queens. Now, Petraeus is moving out to already take that 3rd, though, so he's going to have to worry about covering that. Yep, there's a starport coming down as predicted. Marine is going to try and chase off the Overlord if it comes in, but Petraeus has got one coming in from the right side instead, from the east, so he'll know what's coming his way. He's going to see some Hellions come out. He's going to confirm there are, in fact, double gases down, and of course, this Overlord might not see much right now, but if it scoots over just a bit, it'll see the reactor coming down on the barracks. The wall here needs to be completed for JJakji, for sure. Leaving that open could be a bit of a problem. Overlord looks like it is going to die there, but sees the tech lab, sees the starport.
First blood.
Now knowing that it's going to be Banshees, will he throw down a spine or a sport crawler is the big question. Sometimes you see players do sport crawlers just straight up defensively even without scouting. I really hope he just doesn't decide to put none down, as it is Cloak pairing up with this. Now, of course, you can go for the Overseer if you're getting that quicker layer, but as we see, Petraeus is not taking that quicker layer, so Cloak could be a bit of a problem. Roaches are going to be coming out offensively, but that won't be too problematic either. He does have that full wall down, and of course, even if Roaches come at you hard and fast, Banshees are pretty good at dealing with them. Third CC on the way here. JJakji just playing this pretty standard for the time being. 8 roaches will certainly deal with the Hellions, but again, it's the Banshees that are going to be the true problem here. Oh, you guys putting first blood in chat make my day. Oops, I messed it up. The caps lock key on while I typed it out real quick. But of course, tabbing out takes up way too much time, so I can't dedicate to it. Anyways, we'll see. He's seen the roaches, so JJakji knows what's coming his way. Hellions, of course, will kind of die straight up to them, but looks like it will, in fact, be mech here, ladies and gentlemen. So this is going to be kind of cool. Double armory. I was waiting to see if a third factory, or sorry, a second factory is going to come down, but it, in fact, will be mech coming out of JJakji. So a big part of why this is really interesting, again, JJakji heralded as a bit of a bio player, known best for it. We'll take out these queens actually on the front lines. Hold that thought. I'll meander about JJakji afterwards. With the queen going down, the Banshee's going to be a little more open to do some damage, and the roaches can chase off the Hellions for the time being. But if the Hellions just run around the roaches, get to that mineral line, problems could be had. But perhaps Petraeus thinking like, hey, this is in fact JJakji, also kind of fell for the, hey, it's probably going to be bio trap. So lots of lings are coming out, plus 1/1s on the way. But unfortunately, with the Hellion count that JJakji has and the ones he'll have following this up, they're kind of hard pressed to deal damage. Love the hit and run tactics here. Of course, roaches as well as Hellions have incredibly long cooldowns on their attacks, but with the Banshee added in here, the DPS is just so high that even the roaches are going to go down to the Hellion fire. Banshee across the map managed to pick off about 8 kills. I think those were mostly workers. A couple lings in there too. But gets out alive, so he'll have them for round 2. He's even repairing the Hellions. So JJakji, going mech, guys. This is really cool. I've got, like, if you're a Terran player, you've got your nerdgasm going full bore right now. As this is not something you do see too often, but heavy rain is definitely a big part of why you want to do this. In part because the bases are a little bit harder and more frustrating to secure with all this open dead space, but also the terrain is so great for siege tanks up here, down here, up here. Like, Zerg units can't fire over it, and roaches don't have a lot of range, and you don't see Roach Hydra so much, and you gotta go all the way around to deal with this. It's not gonna be fun. Now, it is worth noting, guys, you can still try and play a lot of lanes. You can try and get Beetle's out versus this composition. But realistically, if it comes to late game tech swaps are going to be your biggest thing. Roaches, Broodlords, Corruptors, trying to catch your opponent off guard. For JJakji, though, when it comes down to the late game, well, it might not even get down to the late game. These drones are getting fried alive. This third base is being torn apart. Still picking up a couple more units here. Those drones are going to go down. A couple Banelings want to connect to the Hellions, but of course, Banshees will keep that from happening. Oh gosh, this is so scary for Petraeus to deal with. He's coming out with more roaches, but he doesn't have a great solution for the Banshees, and 3 at a time are going to annihilate any queens that come forward. Even uncloaked like this, he may lose a single Banshee, not even. Spore Callers are going to try and reposition, and this third base just under Hellfire, and, well, Banshee fire too, let's be honest. Backlash rockets, as it were. Loses the base, little unfortunate. Now, you can open this up with Roach Hydra, which ends up being a little bit stronger, but to do that, you have to know this is coming, right? So Petraeus saying, alright, I'm going to go for the Spire instead. I'm going to try and get some Mutalisks out to deal with the Banshees. Those are the first problem. Ooh, I like that he keep that Spore Crawler alive, by the way. He could have let it burn and just stubbornly let it die, but did in fact finish it. Small amount of roaches are going across the map will draw the attention of JJakji back, but I mean only temporarily. There's siege tanks up. There's Hellbats already out. Petraeus is in a bad way, guys. He has no army supply to fight against a Terran player who's just in such a strong place right now. Yeah, good game's going to be called, so JJakji will take it. Secure a spot here in the quarterfinals, and we'll see him play some best of threes in a little bit.